clean enough shall be treated as such. Someone bring me some grapes. We didn't have grapes. We only had avocado. Oh, thanks. All right, chapter 8 continues. This is the last part of chapter 8. Next, I'll clean the glasses. Not everyone cheered. Many Democrats warned that the Thunderbolt Proclamation would divide what was left of the Union. Some complained bitterly that Lincoln was acting like a dictator. One newspaper in the Confederate capital of Richmond branded him a coward, assassin, and savage. Much closer to home, the pro-democratic Chicago Times charged that Lincoln was cut loose from the Constitution. We protest against it as a monstrous usurpation, a criminal wrong, and an act of national suicide. What was worse, as the president himself sadly admitted, many Union soldiers reacted badly too. The stock market fell, desertions increased, and those troops who remained, the president admitted, come forth more slowly. He worried that he would lose the country's support. Privately, he admitted, I hoped for greater gain than loss, but of this I was not entirely confident. To a crowd of supporters who gathered outside the White House on September 24th, he sounded only slightly more hopeful. To cries of bless you and no mistake, the president declared, what I did after a very full deliberation and under a heavy and solemn sense of responsibility. I can only trust in God I have made no mistake. It is now for the country and the world to pass judgment on it and may be take action upon it. Some critics passed judgment by bemoaning the proclamation's ungraceful prose. But the respected anti-slavery writer Ralph Waldo Emerson called the proclamation a dazzling success, adding, one midsummer day seems to repair the damage of a year of war. New York editor Theodore Tilton, one of the local Republicans who had welcomed Lincoln to Cooper Union just 3 years before, felt much the same way. He said he sent the president a brief but grateful telegram. God bless you for a good deed. And the proclamation thrilled Frederick Douglass, dry style notwithstanding. We shout for joy, he exulted, that we live to record this righteous decree. Abraham Lincoln, President of the United States, Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy, in his own peculiar, circuitous, forbearing, and hesitating way, slow but one hope sure, has, while the loyal heart was near breaking with despair, proclaimed freedom. Free forever, oh, long enslaved millions, whose cries have so vexed the air and sky, suffer on a few more days in sorrow. The hour of your deliverance draws near. But the president felt no such sense of deliverance. Rather, the 100-day deadline tested Abraham Lincoln's nerve and, in a sense, put the North itself on trial. Would it accept this truly revolutionary challenge and begin fighting for freedom as well as the Union? Or would white people refuse to do battle for black people? For 3 months, the debate raged, and Lincoln worried about his own future and that of the nation. The people themselves spoke for the first time in the fall elections. To the president's disappointment, voters harshly punished the Republicans at the polls. Lincoln's party lost representatives in Congress and in state legislatures, too. New York elected a Democratic governor, as did several other northern states. It was not unusual for a sitting president's party to lose seats in Congress during an off-year election, but Lincoln had hoped for far better. After all, most Southern voters did not even go to the polls in the fall of 1862. This rejection had come only from the northern and border states, and it stung Lincoln hard. Fearing that the entire North would rise up against his administration, Lincoln fired General McClellan a second time on November 5th and named Ambrose E. Burnside the new commander of the Army of the Potomac. Under Burnside, however, things went from bad to worse. In mid-December, the Union Army suffered one of its most staggering defeats yet in the Battle of Fredericksburg. Some 12,000 soldiers fell in a single unsuccessful attack against Lee's Confederates. In the days to come, Burnside's retreating army bogged down in winter mud. To his despair, the president then learned that Burnside's fellow generals had begun to criticize him openly for his failures. While all this was happening, a group of Republican senators tried to force the president to fire some of his cabinet officers and reorganize the entire government. We are on the brink of destruction, a desperate Lincoln told a friend. It appears to me the Almighty is against us, and I can hardly see a ray of hope. Whether the Emancipation Proclamation would take effect on January 1st as scheduled was anybody's guess. That is the end of chapter 8. I'm going to go do something royal. I don't know what.